Hey everyone, back with another Polars tutorial. Hope you're all doing real well. I'm going to be continuing my discussion on time series analysis today. And today what I'm going to be discussing is the issue of rolling calculations. So namely, calculations that we want to do when we have time series data, but we want to calculate summary statistics over a specified period of time rather than across the whole column. And so the data I'm going to be using today is temperature data, daily temperature data for the City of London that goes from 1979 to 2020. It's very interesting, very clean and easy to use data set. And so to begin, we'll talk about what rolling calculations are and just maybe briefly talk about why they're important, and then just get to the code because the code is actually very simple because Polars makes these types of calculations very easy to do. And so what are rolling calculations? A rolling calculation is a summary statistic computed across specified data points rather than the whole column. So let's say we only wanted to calculate an average for every 3 days. So we wanted to average across these 3 days, these 3 days, these 3 days, and so on. That could help collapse a lot of that variation and help us identify a trend that we wouldn't otherwise see. So if we just kind of scan across these data, we can see it's helpful to analyze daily temperature data, but there's also a lot of variation here. So if we collapse a lot of that variation, it'll smooth some of that out and allow us to see a more general pattern that would emerge. And so it's often used in time series analysis. It's a very trusted tool. And so an example, of course, we're going to use temperature data in this example, but another helpful example would be like tabulating the number of speeding violations computed every week out of daily data. So if we had speeding violations in a daily data set, if we were to sum those across every week, that could help. Seeing that weekly data would remove some of that variation that we would see across data tabulated by days. And so to maybe get to the code, the way you would compute rolling statistics in Polars is first you need to make sure your time series data is appropriately sorted. So here we have a date column, and I sorted by that date. So in order for these statistics to make sense, they need to be tabulated over across the correct days. And then the second thing is you need to use one of the rolling underscore methods. And in the parenthesis, we would write the time period for which we want summary stats. So if we wrote rolling, mean, for example, 3, that would compute, or maybe just 5 to take another example, that would compute the rolling average across the first 5 days of data. And it really is that simple. So I'll take a look at 3 rolling computations here. And so we're going to be taking the rolling average, min and max across max temp. And so we'll do the 3-day average, the 3-day minimum, and the 3-day maximum on this max temp column. And so the way we specify these summary statistics, or these rolling computations for this time series data, is we first name the variable we want to create. We specify the column that we want to point to, that we want to calculate these rolling statistics over, and then the method. And so we're going to do rolling mean, and that's going to calculate the mean across every 3 days worth of data. The rolling minimum, so it's going to be the minimum value for every 3 days worth of data. And then the rolling maximum, which should be the flip side of the minimum. And so we'll go ahead and print these out and take a look at how they look. Okay, and so here are our rolling statistics. So this 1.7 right here, that refers to the 3-day average, so the mean of these 3 days of data. And so we can see across these 3 days, we had a mean max temperature of 1.7. Across these 3 days, we had a mean temperature of 0.86, a minimum of 0.03, or 0.3, and a maximum of 1.6. And so again, the value of these statistics is that they do remove a lot of the variation, and they let us identify a trend that otherwise wouldn't be apparent. And these data run from, again, 1979, excuse me, to 2020. If we wanted to make sure that, we appreciate the seams on the years and we don't compute rolling statistics across years, we only compute them within years, we could easily just add in a dot over and then, oh yeah, actually, yeah, dot over. I thought there was an alias right there. Year, if we had a year column, and we could easily extract a year column by just manipulating this date column we have. Okay, guys, so that's all there is to rolling time series computations using polars and Python. If there's any other questions about or topics you want me to cover on time series data using polars, feel free to write so in the columns. But thanks so much for watching, and hope you have a good rest of your day.